Tonight on The Edge, be wary, Lions fans. Some scammers might be coming for you.
A mother hoping to bring some joy to her son for his birthday nearly got conned by someone pretending to be from the Lions PR team. Fox News' Jessica Dupnack has more on the lesson we all can learn from this mother's experience. Jess.
This Detroit Lions fan family went from the top of the world to straight up worried, and they're still not even sure what the scammers were after. 9-year-old Easton speechless, starstruck at this week's Lions preseason game.
Easton was like, "This is the best day ever."
That's because wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown actually said hi to him. Easton officially caught Lions fever.
He was like, "All I want for my birthday is St. Brown to say happy birthday to me." And I kind of laughed because I was like, there's no possible way.
But mom of 3, Lisa Krieger, tried anyway, taking to her TikTok following for help.
This is probably the most far out thing I'm going to try to do ever, but it's worth a shot.
Lots of traction for a birthday wish for her son. Then a message from a woman who said her friend worked for the Lions public relations department.
They want to get you a suite at the Detroit Lions game. They want to give him a VIP experience.
Too good to be true? Maybe, but worth a shot, Lisa thought, giving her phone number to this woman to talk to that so-called friend who worked with the Detroit Lions.
Dumb on my part. I know I am stupid with this part as well.
Almost immediately, the faux Lions employee launched into a sob story via text.
And she said, I have a soft spot for for young kids, because my son, she said her son passed away from cancer.
They messaged for several hours Wednesday night. That VIP offer they led with quickly changed.
And then it went to just like tickets just for my son and I.
Then she started asking personal questions to Lisa.
It just didn't add up to me.
Lisa tried asking some tough questions back with no reply, then a block. We tried calling that number with a Syracuse, New York area code.
Call has been forwarded to voicemail.
I doubt I'll ever get that call back.
Honestly, at first I just thought it was probably 2 people just playing some prank that they thought was funny.
She's still holding out hope for a simple birthday wish from St. Brown, even under the cloud of this bizarre scamming experience.
No one knows what the intentions of all of this was, and it could be so much more than what I originally thought it was.
Lisa says she plans on reporting the whole situation to local police just in case the scammers were after something a little more sinister. Reporting downtown Detroit, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
It's been crazy. It's been insane. Feels like we're living in a third world country.
No power for 2 days can take a toll. Power crews continue to work around the clock to restore electricity following Tuesday's storm. DTE planned on having power restored to 90% of its customers by tonight. At last check, there are 19,000 customers still in the dark.
As the lights come back on, we can't get too comfortable yet.
No, we have another chance for severe weather tomorrow. Captain Rich Luderman has a look at our forecast. Hey, Rich.
Hey there, Roop and Taryn. Yeah, our next cold front is in the western Great Lakes, so you can clearly see that line of showers and storms crossing Iowa, the Mississippi River, up into western Wisconsin. Some of that is quite strong, so we'll be watching our threat late in the day on Friday. Let's take a look at what's going to happen for the rest of tonight. Quiet weather for us. It's kind of muggy out there with dew points near 70 degrees. Here are the highs today. 80 for us, 82 in Grand Rapids. Not quite as warm up in the tip of the thumb. Here are the numbers at the airport. 80 and 67. Look at the records. 96 on the high side, 38 on this date way back in 1982. Right now, a lot of us near 70 degrees with a very light breeze from the south and east. But the dew points tell the story. It's kind of thick out there, not oppressively so, but you can feel it. Cooler numbers around Bad Axe and Pellston, warmer numbers around Pittsburgh and Columbus. Watch what happens with our next frontal boundary. It sweeps across the central Great Lakes tomorrow night. So in advance of it, we'll see some clusters of showers and storms late in the day Friday and for Friday evening. Then all of it clears out of here for the weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which is Labor Day, looking good. You'll see it coming up in the 7-day. There's that bullseye for severe weather from Detroit to Saginaw in yellow up into the thumb especially. And we could see some gusty winds with the storms late in the day tomorrow. Muggy tonight down to 67, back to 90 tomorrow. Heat and humidity will return for one day. And then notice how temperatures fall off big time for Labor Day. 73 degrees, nice and comfortable next week. Remember, always get the latest forecast. Check it out on the Fox 2 weather app. You can download it for free anytime in the App Store or in Google Play.
All right, I wanted to point out that the storms that he's talking about are happening between 5 and 10 p.m., so that's going to be something to keep in mind. And by the way, again, the power is being restored. We just have the teleprompter move forward here. We'll continue our broadcast here. Keep going.
Going into the backyards, we're replacing that sewer line, and in many cases, we're fixing the city sewer back in the alley that it connects to.
It's the best news that flood-prone homes in Detroit can receive. The city was given $95 million in aid from the feds. $43 million of that will go toward a private sewer repair program. It will be available to 1,500 low-income families in 22 neighborhoods. Residents will need to apply in order to receive the sewer repairs. You can apply by calling the Detroit Housing Network hotline. That number, 866-313-2560, or excuse me, 2520, 866-313-2520. Or, of course, you can go to detroitmi.gov/disaster recovery.
Well, it's a feud no one really saw coming. Jack White of the White Stripes versus former President Donald Trump.
Trump posted a video online using the band's music. And as Fox News' Dave Kinchin reports, White had some choice words for the former president.
Detroit's own Jack White fuming over former President Donald Trump's campaign using the White Stripes' classic Seven Nation Army in the background of this campaign video posted online. White ripping the move, calling Trump and his team fascists while threatening legal action in a blistering response on social media.
Politics is the king of what they'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission, and Donald Trump has been the king of that.
The video was posted by a Trump aide to X, formerly Twitter, showing the Republican presidential nominee boarding his plane headed for Thursday's campaign stops here in Michigan and Wisconsin. Jack White noticed the campaign using his music and slammed POTUS 45, saying, quote, "Oh, don't even think about using my music, you fascists," adding, among other things, lawsuit coming from my lawyers about this to add to your 5,000 others. Gary Graff is a legendary Detroit music journalist who says Trump has been down this road before.
You can tick them off. ABBA, Adele, Neil Young. Now he's embroiled in something with the Foo Fighters as well as potentially something with Jack White. You can't use these songs, but the Trump campaign in particular in 16 and 20 and now again in 24 just throws it out there and sees what sticks and sees who goes after them.
Graff says there's a long history of politicians using rock and pop songs to bolster support and seem relatable, though not always a welcome move. A notable example, President Ronald Reagan wanting to use the Bruce Springsteen hit Born in the USA during his '84 re-election campaign. But the boss said, no way.
That's the one where it seems like it started, but I do know prior to that, you know, the Nixon campaign and even the Humphrey campaigns in 1968 tried to use a little bit of rock and roll music to appear hip. Now, it was a much harder sell back then than it is now.
Fox 2 reached out to Jack White's people and the Trump campaign for comment. Meantime, Graff says White can certainly get some relief in the courts, perhaps akin to Seven Nation Army's lyrics like, "I'm going to serve it to you, and that ain't what you want to hear, but that's what I'll do."
He, of course, has to prove damages. He certainly should have no problem getting an injunction to prevent the Trump campaign from continuing to use it. If he can collect damages or something, that's a whole other matter to take it to court. Most of these wind up not going to court.
And if we do hear back from the Trump campaign or Jack White, we will certainly let you know and keep you updated on all of this as it develops. Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
Well, former President Trump played it safe with his introduction music during a campaign stop outside of Lansing today.
Yeah, he actually, Taryn, walked up to the song God Bless the USA before delivering these remarks at a steel plant in Potterville.
For us to compete successfully with China and others on AI, we're going to need twice the electricity that we currently produce. Can you believe that? We're not going to be even close. The only guy that can do that is a guy like me.
During today's visit, former President Trump made a bold declaration saying he supports IVF treatments for pregnancy.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women. IVF treatment.
Trump and Democratic nominee Vice President Harris are currently tied in the polls right here in Michigan.
She's ready to do this job. She is ready to be our leader, not just here domestically, but on the world stage. And she is ready. She'll be ready on day one when you elect her as our next president.
That is the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, campaigning on behalf of his wife in Grand Rapids today. Soon, the vice president will be in Michigan as well. The Democratic presidential nominee will attend a Labor Day event in Detroit on Monday. President Biden has plans to campaign in Michigan on Friday. Well, tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Tim Walz joined CNN for their first exclusive sit-down interview.
Yeah, this was her first non-scripted interview since becoming the Democratic nominee. Of course, she's spoken at rallies and other events. Vice President Harris spoke about multiple topics, including the Israel-Hamas war, inflation, climate change, and immigration. When asked if her policy stances have changed in protecting the environment, she made it clear where she stands.
Let's be clear, my values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate.
Harris also said if elected, she would appoint a Republican to her cabinet, though she didn't name a specific candidate. We'll have much more on this interview tonight on The Pulse. Here's a look at some of the other stories making news from our area today.
Another young child is shot during a drive-by shooting in Detroit. Fortunately, we're told injuries not life-threatening. The shooting took place at a home on Bassett Street in southwest Detroit around 1:30 in the morning, not far from River Rouge High School. It hit a 6-year-old boy. The home is now riddled by bullets. There are no other details being released tonight, but police are looking for that shooter.
Novi police are investigating a deadly crash tonight. We're told just after 5 o'clock tonight, the driver of a blue Ford Fusion crossed the center line on Beck near 8 Mile, colliding head-on with a GMC truck that was towing a trailer. We're told the driver of the Fusion was killed in the accident. That person is described as a 44-year-old Plymouth resident. The other driver was not hurt.
That area of 94 is unlit. However, we had several police cars out there, I think around 4 or 5, and all with their bright LED lights, so they're kind of hard to miss.
It was hard to miss, but it didn't matter. A Clinton Township police officer suffers a hand injury after getting T-boned in his squad car while tending to an accident scene. This happened late last night on I-94 near Harper. We're told the impact of the crash sent the police vehicle spinning 180 degrees. That driver was ticketed.